welcome back, and our next guests are Mr. Weiss and Jens from Zacuto, and at the end there, back again for a third time for IBC, Rodney Charters, who probably doesn't need any introduction, so I'm not going to give him one. Let's get right to it, guys. What have you got new?
What do you want to start with?
I'll start with this. Okay, so we've kind of introduced this about 1.5 years ago, and we've slowly been trying to perfect it. And this is what we call a recoil. And how are we going to do this?
You can.
No, we need to get it up on Jens's shoulder. You got to.
I can do it.
Go that way, buddy.
You guys ready?
Because we're going to need a profile. All right, but here,
talk about the concept here.
Yeah, we're going to. Let me see if I can get you. There we go. That's the profile. Okay. So the key is if you want to keep these things light, and Rodney, you got to speak to the light part of it, because really it's you that was the one that kept saying these things are too heavy. They're too heavy. Some people claim, heavy in general. Some people claim, they want like a big heavy rig. It gives them heft. Our belief is that you can always add weight. So that's a non-issue. But if you want it light, what about light?
Light's important for fatigue and obviously for maneuverably able to put the camera where you want it to go, follow the action. I think it is important that it's just elegant and not too cumbersome and weighted down. I don't want to carry, unless you have a battery there, that makes sense, you need extra running time. But other than that, it should all be as light as it possibly can be. But I love the way this is adjustable, both in the distance sliding back and forth, but also on the pitch. You can change the pitch on this one too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, before you guys get too carried away, just let the viewers know exactly what this is that you have up on your shoulder.
Right. Well, I want to just address something that Rodney said, and then we'll get into it. If you wanted to add a battery out of some back rods here, you would just slide it a little more back.
They fit right in there.
Yeah. Okay, so this is what we call a recoil. That's kind of our own term, and what we mean by recoil is it puts the camera in the center of balance on your shoulder. And obviously all these cameras are basically boxes, and we used to hover the box over here. You'd have to have a shoulder pad, and then you'd have to have a whole bunch of counterbalance, and it never seemed like we had enough counterbalance. To have enough, the thing ended up weighing 25 pounds.
And was long.
And was incredibly long. So we figured one day, okay, well, what if we did what we used to do, is just get the camera back up on your shoulder pad, and on your shoulder, but the problem is that you have to, so once you get the camera on your shoulder, it puts the lens very far back and all the camera controls very far back, and obviously you can't see anything. So it requires a few components, and what the components are you have to get your vision. So by using this long arm, which I know you're not a huge fan of.
I'm not a huge fan.
But I think I convinced you a little better earlier today.
No, I totally understand the usage of it. So let's
the universality.
We'll get into this.
So part one is the optics. So as you can see here, the optics. I don't know. Can you get that camera in here?
Yeah, let's get this camera.
If you really look, let me see a profile, Jens. Yeah, that's good. It needs to be, look, the actual, his eye is at the end of that lens. Well, that's kind of a complicated thing to do, because you can end up seeing this arm here in the shot. And I'll turn frontal. So we have a lot of adjustability here. This here, what we call our side cage, has a rail on the top. And the rail allows us to slide the EVF either in or out this way. And you also have this adjustment here to be able to go in or out. Now, this is kind of handy because there's a lot of right-eyed, left-eyed, different types of shooters, and that comes in handy. So optics, that's one part. You got to get your, not optics, view. You got to get your view where you need it. The second part is you need camera control. So in this particular setup, this has a DSLR, but we can do this with any camera out there. You need to have some kind of a controller. Well, this Oki controller will give you camera control where you can do start, stop, change your iris, some of the key features. And obviously if you use like the Canon cameras, the C series, you can use our grip relocator and put that control there. And the third major component is focus. You have to be able to focus your camera, and you need to do it in sort of a very far frontal way. And we've
While maintaining this as a grip.
Yes, exactly. And we're going to talk about that in a second. But the point here, is that this new follow focus, which we call a Z drive, is kind of unique. It's not really like any other follow focus. If you look here, you can see, I don't know if we can get it in here, it's tipped down. I don't know if you can see it.
It's a universal joint.
Yeah, it's a universal. I got any more cable here?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, well, you can kind of see
about
the
from the
thing
front?
spinning here. Yeah, there you go. There you go. You can see it. It's kind of like a transmission in your car. What's great about it is there's no gears, so it can't have any backlash. You know, it's basically just
A universal joint.
it's universal joint. That's what it's called. It's actually two universal joints, but so then we built this thing where we have sort of your standard follow focus port, and this thing we call a tornado. And when you plug the tornado in there, you now have a mechanical follow focus hand grip, I guess you would
Mechanical
call it.
remote follow focus.
Yeah, remote focus. And this interesting angle of the U-joint allows you to get it right where you need it to be.
And I've tried it. It's a very positive, very firm kind of feel. You know, it doesn't feel. I used the early prototype, and you felt a little bit disengaged from the whole process.
Yeah.
And then this, it's much more positive. You know where you are.
Yeah.
And I was playing around with it on the booth, and it's very, very easy to nail focus. Even I have to say, with some less expensive stills lenses, which haven't like that one you have on there, they don't have a perfect throw.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you were doing it on the lens, it would be very, very hard to nail it. It's easier with that. Obviously, cine lenses are still better in my opinion, but it's much easier with that.
Well, with this, the thing is, we made the gear fairly small on here so that you get a larger rotation when you're using the stills lenses, I'm going to say. You know, typically the difference between A and B is like microscopic, so this gives you a much more rotation.
Can we get Rodney to Rodney, have you had a go with this, Rodney?
Yeah, 5 minutes ago he did, but he loved it.
Let's get your take on this. Go on, you have been very vocal about the need for cameras that balance and...
No. This puts the whole 5D in it, and this thing here is genius. To have focus control, and I believe you guys are working on another trick, right?
We are. I don't know that we want to really talk about it, but let's just say you will be able to operate zoom lenses better,
Okay. And then you've got
probably giving away too much already this.
Yeah, well, Rodney will do it anyways. He'll tweet it out before. He can't hold
Probably even
anything
pictures
in.
and drawings.
Yeah, exactly.
So this thing can be twisted into your palm, and then you control the other side with that. It's great, really comforting, and as you say, it's accurate. It feels positive,
precise,
and it puts the focus where it should be, as far as I'm concerned.
There's one other feature in it that we haven't really talked about, is that if you have a lens that has an enormous amount of rotation, and show them how we do. I call it ratcheting, but here we go. Let's get it up. So
my palm is on here, and I'm grabbing the actual handle. Okay?
He's the best at showing this here. Switch.
So if I need more distance, I never let go of the handle.
Or try it again. We weren't on this camera.
So I'm never letting go of the handle. So I'm always still.
Yes, show how still you can be. But then you have this ratcheting capacity. If you run out of rotation in the lens, which can happen, even when you're holding the physical lens, you got to do a ratcheting
Well, the long
effect.
throw lenses, and depending on what gear you have on there, of course. But so that's why both these turn independently.
And you can put larger gears or smaller gears onto the follow focus. Yeah, like a normal follow
not
focus.
any smaller. That's the smallest. You can put larger. And that's actually what we were thinking about. After we talked, we were thinking if we put a larger gear on there, we might actually be able to find a way to fit
So, in that
box.
configuration, one of the issues possibly may be if you want to use a matte box, it's going to be a little bit tough if you've got an existing matte box to get it.
It's going to be almost impossible. This is sort of it's still in the docu run and gun kind of category that I would
right now,
call
if you want a DSLR, you're probably going to want to be using a fader filter or a screw-in 77.
You'd have to use a round
or
screw-in.
ideally a C300 or C100,
But with
something
the
that has
larger-
built-in ND fader.
With the larger gear, though, I think you'll be able to place that on there.
We have to experiment with that. You kind of got us thinking about that earlier today at lunch. So, but you can obviously use rounds. Oh yeah, and then the last component. No, there's a couple here. There's two components we still want to talk about. Our half cage here, which is well, let's finish up on the focus here, actually. So what's unique about the follow focus for us is that it's incredibly cheap. We've actually been able to design something that just happen to be a cheap device to design because it's
This is cheap by Zacuto standards, not cheap by perhaps
It's
made
cheap
in a
by
sweatshop in
everybody's
China.
no, I mean 550 for a follow focus.
That's pretty
That's
good.
cheap by most people's standards.
I'm in.
I'm not. Yeah, I mean, yes. Okay. Well, I don't want to say anything, but I think that's pretty reasonable bikes. Now you can also use this just as it is. You know, it's kind of nice. Show them how you flip it up on your shoulder and use it like it is. I
As
mean,
well as in other directions.
You can get it almost in the like yeah.
yeah, you know, it's great. I mean, it's in the right direction when you're back. You got to remember that without this thing, show them how you would focus that lens, Jens, right now.
What do you mean?
Put it on
you
your
mean-
shoulder.
Yeah, I'd have to reach up in here.
Yeah, I mean, here,
Yeah, you
look,
can't-
look at that. I
you
mean,
can't
it's
get it.
not exactly comfortable. Even you
Or
admitted
if I had a standard follow focus knob, it would be in my face.
in your cheek.
Right.
No, I mean this is the thing about cine lenses versus stills. The stills lenses, which is what still a lot of people are using for this setup.
Yeah.
You know, they are so short. You really can't get in there and operate them that way. You know, you probably do want a larger cine lens, then you can get away with it, or a broadcast lens.
Well,
They're
but
designed
again,
to be used that way, but
Once
these
you
are
put a
not.
heavier lens on,
Yeah.
you got to send the camera farther
Right.
back, and it still always tends to be not in a primo spot. But okay, so the Tornado 275, so a full-on follow focus mechanical hand grip under $1,000. By Zacuto standards, pretty reasonable.
By Zacuto standards, very reasonable.
By most people's
everybody else's standards, pretty reasonable.
You're getting a hand grip and a follow focus. Okay, let's move on to the shoulder pad. This is part of our new shoulder pad design. It pops off. It has the movement. Obviously, you've got quite a bit of movement for sending the balancing the camera. You pop it off. We have our wedge plate here. Our red wedge plate will go on obviously our tripod adapter plate, which has a huge amount of slide.
But it'll also go on other people. It'll go on a Kessler plate
Yeah.
or a Really Right Stuff
Yes,
plate. Which
it
have
will. So
become
if-
incredibly. This is another argument we had a couple of years ago about tripod
Well, you were
plates.
pushing for that
I've
compatibility.
been pushing a
Yeah.
long time
You
for
have,
this.
and I listen. I listen sometimes, not all the time. You get
I
on my
might even
case.
listen.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, but I'm not always going to agree. You like gear that's very specific to you.
of course.
You know, and
small.
I can't make the gear for Dan Chung.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah, I'll make some, but I agreed with you. We went with that, and it's a nice system. So now, our tripod adapter plate comes in two varieties. It comes, I don't know if it was you again that said, just most of the tripods have the slide capacity. So we have a version that just has no slide capacity, and then we have one that has slide capacity. And actually, we found that on some of these crazy front-heavy systems, that you actually need the full tripod and the full R's to really get it
Yeah.
back there. So.
No, it's certainly, if you're in the market for a decent quick release system, this is pretty much the best I've seen. I'll probably upset everybody else on the planet now who makes quick release systems, but it's as good as it gets.
Last
Matt,
part.
come on, quick opinion here. You're not really into DSLRs full stop at the moment, right? But I mean, can you see yourself using something like this?
I think that, as the guy said before, I think with a DSLR, the problem is it's compactness like this, and if you were to put it on your shoulder, as Ian said, your hands are back here. So the only way to do it is to have a system like this where you're out here where all the controls are at your fingertips, because you can't physically put your hands back to adjust anything. So you want everything that's right there. So I think for a DSLR type sort of solution, if you want to put it on your shoulder, this is pretty much sort of the only sort of real option that works properly.
Well, you realize you can swap this out. So like this half cage here, it can collapse. Right now it's collapsed in almost its smallest mode. It can go maybe a little smaller. This is 5.5 inches here. This can open up. This can open up to about 9.5 inches.
Some of the taller cameras.
You can stick any camera in here, not an Alexa because the design is different. But you can stick a C500, C300, FS700. Any camera can go on this configuration. The base plate might be different. But this cage, which could be the last cage you ever buy,
Oh, that's a bold statement.
well, it slides on rods.
But you know,
So why wouldn't it be the last cage you ever buy? It's collapsible to the
Well,
smallest
it hasn't
camera
got a
you can get.
signature for one, but other than
most
that,
cages
it's,
are
has
camera
that-
specific, and we know how long cameras stay around.
Yeah, no, I mean it has your quarter 20s here. It's got some quarter 20s on top. It's all rail on top, so you can put all your rail accessories. We've got, cold shoes and handles. We have a new wood handle coming out. You can put our access mounts. You can put all kinds of stuff on here. And what's nice is you can actually slide them off from both ends.
And that is NATO standard on the top.
Yes.
So
and
other people's stuff,
anyone
if
can
you,
fit on here.
Red
you know,
rail,
yeah.
wooden
You know,
camera, all those.
You got your screw holes for the people who really don't know anything about not using screw holes, and you have our
Screws come
rod
undone.
port. Yeah, screws come undone, man. Don't use screws. You have our rod port here for using like our American arms or whatever you want. And again, this is how much is this cage?
Where's Mandy?
Yeah, we don't know. Under 4, I think, or somewhere around there.
We won't hold
Yeah,
to
no,
that.
it's
It's
cheap.
okay.
It's cheap,
cheaper than that, I
and it
think.
goes on rods. So you can put it on the front, you can put it on the back rods, you can put it anywhere you want it.
Okay, we're running short on time, but there's a couple of things here that I really want to get you to
Super
talk about.
fast. Here we go. Showed this in NAB. This is in its final form. It's for sale. I'm not on. Here we go. Thank you.
Oh, I can do this with this as well. Look at that.
Well, he's got me on there. Okay, ready? Here's how fast you can put your rig together. Done. Take my camera, put it on here.
So this is basically the evolution of, what you had before.
Mm-hmm.
The
We had it,
the gun stock style that you had,
Right.
built out of 50mm rails.
With rods and a lot of parts, which is highly adjustable, but we wanted speed and a one-piece design, essentially.
Yeah, this if you have a pair of cargo shorts, you can throw this in your cargo shorts, and it can be collapsed. It's, James Bondish, in a matter of seconds, and boom, it goes in your shorts there. And you got a
Not
rig.
recommended
Not
if
heavy.
you're shooting too much in the Middle East right now, possibly. But other than that,
Well, I
it's-
don't know. We are making a custom version for the Rangers, the U.S. Rangers.
Even probably more
Not
of a
the
good
ba-
reason if you're a journalist
Yeah.
not to be seen walking
Well,
around
if
with.
you're a ranger, you're probably fine.
Yeah.
If you're a ranger, you're good. Yeah.
And they're part of, and the Marines. So they are issues that they want to change for them, and I'm assuming it's color and things like that.
Yeah.
But the only actual adjustment on here that's not a snap fit is these 2 screws right here, which allow you to angulate this shoulder pad. And
Actually,
you can
I like
actually-
this. I had one of my criticisms of the previous one. I found, for me,
Yeah.
because I'm a bit sort of skinny there, it dug in a little. This is much more comfortable.
Yeah.
Right,
actually.
and it's
It's
rubberized,
squishy.
so it doesn't slide. Actually, there is one other adjustment, real quick. Is the hand grip
Oh,
itself?
right.
You can articulate it just to get to the right wrist position.
And the hand grip's actually chunkier than the old ones.
No,
right?
it has a
Slightly-
glove on
It's the
it.
grip rubber.
You don't have to have that, but it's nice. It gives you a little rubberized glove. That is nice that you got that articulation point. And you can also flip this. A lot of times women need to flip this to where this goes up and set it a little lower on their body.
Shorter people need it up a little bit higher, which you can easily do.
You can flip it around. So it's and we have a baby version that doesn't have this, doesn't have the hand grip. It's just this top part, and it's around 400 or something.
Right, for people who still like Philip Bloom, actually, he uses that where
Loves
he grabs it up the camera itself.
Yeah, and you just grab the lens. You don't need the hand grip. And the last feature on this is if you don't want to use, this is for a Z Finder use. You don't want to use a Z Finder, you can put it like this, and then you can see the camera like this.
So this is the.
Can
You might
pop
want to
that?
mention that Z Finder too.
Yeah, we're gonna. I'm not taking the Z Finder off because I'm out at a good angle. But here, I could look at the screen right now. I couldn't, but if you had reasonably decent eyes, I actually can. Yeah, I can.
Just show us how quickly that flips into the Z Finder position.
Just gotta pop the camera off. And then put this on.
Okay, take the camera away. That's it.
Okay, we really are running out of time. I'm going to get this ask for the expert opinion at the end there. Guys, pass it along.
Last part is new Z Finder for the Blackmagic camera.
Okay.
A lot of people, including you, asking for that.
I've been asking for it, and I think that'll be pretty popular.
Yeah.
It's wider than our Junior.
Oh, you want to try it on?
Yeah, I want to see what the gentlemen at the end think, the users.
The users.
You know.
I didn't know you were a user.
Maybe you use it.
Let's see if there's any battery power left. Oops,
Or
sorry.
this one. Yeah, this camera is getting more and more interesting.
You did at first it wasn't. Now all of a sudden you're changing your tune.
Well, I mean, now we've got a finder that covers the whole field and stuff that they should have designed. Knock,
Yeah.
knock. But
Channel support.
you can't use this outside without a finder.
No.
It was essential. Just the first thing you have to buy is go to you guys and get the finder. How cool is that?
Hey, nice endorsement. Thank you.
Can you snap the end off the back and start again from your existing one, or you start again? With the
No,
new
you
one?
need a new mold.
Oh, a new mold.
Yeah,
Right,
it's
okay.
not cheap, believe it or not. It's
Well,
pretty expensive.
How much
it,
will the actual
it played right
finder
up
be?
the tune. It's died. The battery's gone, and
Yeah, the finder's actually going to be real reasonable because it's,
Yeah,
the
it's gone.
same price as our junior finder.
Okay.
I don't know what the junior costs, but it's 275-ish, somewhere in that range. Because this, we're going to do it with this one. You can't really have a diopter because it's getting too heavy for a snap-on. So it's going to have little diopter lenses that go in there. They'll
Yeah.
give you a +1,
I like
+2,
that.
+3.
I did that with my Delphi.
Yeah.
On the big one.
Yeah.
I got a +3 and just cemented
Great.
it
They'll
in.
be included.
Yeah.
They'll be included with it when you buy
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
guys,
that's
we're going to have to
a
wrap it
great
up
one.
there. Thank you so much for coming on with that. Very exciting.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Thanks.
and I look forward to that.
Careful how you want it.
Okay, it's Amsterdam.
All right,
I'll see you
thanks.
later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, we'll be
See you
back
guys.
in just a few minutes.